Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Tyler, and what I'm about to tell you is something that completely changed my life just 2 years ago. Back then, I was in love with a woman I truly believed was my future. I gave her my time, my loyalty, and my whole heart. But in one single night, everything I thought I knew about our relationship came crashing down. At the time, I genuinely believed that if you loved someone and treated them well, they would do the same for you. But life has a way of showing you just how wrong you can be. The woman I loved made a choice that revealed exactly where I stood in her life, and it wasn't where I thought. So stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll understand why some people simply don't deserve second chances. I've always been a quiet, steady type who values deep, meaningful connections. Jenny, on the other hand, was the total opposite. She had this spark, this energy that lit up any room she walked into. People were naturally drawn to her, and I admired that about her. I loved that we were so different. It felt like we balanced each other out. She was a fire, and I was a steady flame. I had opportunities to leave our city, better jobs, better offers, things that could have changed my life completely, but I stayed. I stayed for her because I love her and believe we were working toward the same future. I imagined a life together, a home, maybe even children someday. I was all in. I honestly believed she was too, but I was wrong. And that truth hit me like a punch on what should have been one of the happiest nights of my life. It was Jenny's birthday, our relationship anniversary, and the night I had planned to propose. I had everything ready, reservations at a nice restaurant, a quiet table for two. I had practiced the words I would say over and over in my head, picturing the way she'd smile, maybe even cry happy tears, as I slipped the ring on her finger. I was nervous but excited. This was supposed to be our moment. But at the last minute, she ditched our anniversary dinner to go to a wild party with her high-status friends. No discussion, no apology, just a casual, "Oh, we can have dinner another day." When I called her, hoping maybe she'd change her mind, she brushed me off, saying I was overreacting. "It's just dinner," she said. But it wasn't just dinner. She had no idea what she was throwing away. No idea that I had a ring in my pocket, ready to give her everything. And in that moment, something inside me broke. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how someone I loved so deeply could make me feel so invisible. I had given her everything, and she chose a party over me. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy feeling in my chest. I had cried myself to sleep, but a small, foolish part of me still hoped she'd reach out. Maybe she'd realize what she had done and try to make it right. Maybe a text, maybe a call, something, but the day passed. Nothing. By the time the sun began to set, I knew if she cared, she would have reached out. If she had even the slightest regret, she would have said something. Her silence said it all. And that's when I made my decision. I was done. I deleted her number from my phone, blocked her on every social media platform. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all gone. I erased every picture, every message thread, every trace of her from my life. If she couldn't make me a priority, then she didn't deserve access to me. With Jenny out of my life, I faced another truth. There was nothing keeping me in this city anymore. I had turned down job offers in the past to stay near her, but now staying felt pointless. I wasn't even going to wait for another offer. I told myself, when I get there, opportunities will come. I wasn't going to sit around and let life happen to me anymore. I was taking control. That night, I sat my parents down and told them everything. I told them about the proposal, about how I had spent weeks imagining our future, and how Jenny threw it all away for one night of partying. My mom looked heartbroken. My dad didn't say much, but I could see the disappointment in his face, not in me, but in how Jenny had treated me. They supported my decision to leave. When they asked where I was going, I kept it vague. I didn't want Jenny finding me later and trying to reel me back in with a half-hearted apology. I needed a clean break. The next morning, I packed my bags and walked out of that house without any intention of looking back. I reached out to Daniel. an old schoolmate who had moved to a bigger city years earlier. We hadn't spoken in a long time, but when I explained my situation, he didn't hesitate. "Come crash at my place for a while," he said. And just like that, I had somewhere to land. When I arrived, I barely spoke about what happened. Daniel didn't press, and I appreciated that. The last thing I wanted was to relive the past. I threw myself into work. I took every job I could find: day shifts, night shifts, warehouse work, deliveries, even freelance tech work. I kept myself so busy I didn't have time to think. I didn't check social media. Didn't wonder what Jenny was doing. Didn't even allow myself to say her name. Relationships? Forget it. I didn't want to hear about love, dating, or anything that involved emotions. My only focus was me, making money, building my future, and becoming the kind of man who would never be left behind again. I had always been careful with money, but now I became almost obsessive about it. Every dollar I made went into two categories: investing in myself and investing in the market. I studied everything I could about finances, watched videos, read books, learned how to make my money work for me. And slowly I started to see results. After a few months, I was able to move into my own apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. No more couch surfing. 2 years passed in a blur. The pain that had once consumed me no longer controlled me. Looking back, I realized Jenny had actually done me a favor. If she hadn't walked away that night, I might never have taken the steps to build a life I was meant to have. One day, while at the mall, I ran into someone I never expected to see. Eve, one of Jenny's old friends. At first, I hesitated. The last time I heard her name was when Jenny accused her of trying to steal me away. I believed Jenny back then, of course, and even resented Eve for it. But standing there now, Eve didn't seem like someone who had done anything wrong. She smiled warmly, a little surprised. "Wow, Tyler, I never expected to see you here." "Yeah," I said, still processing. "It's been a while." There was a brief, awkward silence, but then Eve asked if I had time to catch up over coffee. I agreed. We sat in a small cafe, and she wasted no time getting to the point. "I always felt like Jenny didn't appreciate you," she said. "That's why we stopped being friends." Her words shocked me. That wasn't the story Jenny told me at all. Eve explained everything. How she confronted Jenny about the way she treated me, about how selfish she was, how she never valued my time or my feelings. Instead of listening, Jenny flipped the narrative and accused Eve of trying to take me from her. Before Eve could defend herself, Jenny had already turned their entire friend group against her. Everything started to click in my head. Jenny had lied. She had painted herself as the victim and made Eve look like the villain, and I had believed her without question. It wasn't just about that one night. It was a pattern. Jenny had always twisted situations to make herself look innocent while throwing others under the bus, and I had played right into it. I told Eve everything about the proposal, about how Jenny ruined it, about how I left everything behind and started over. She listened quietly, nodding, actually caring. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel foolish for believing lies. I felt relieved that I finally knew the truth. After that day, Eve and I kept in touch. There was something easy about talking to her. Maybe because she had been hurt by Jenny too, or maybe because she didn't expect anything from me. We started spending more time together, grabbing lunch, watching movies, just enjoying each other's company. At first, I was still guarded. Trusting someone again felt terrifying. But Eve never pushed me, never asked for more than I could give. And slowly, I felt like I could breathe again. One Sunday afternoon, I had just finished cleaning my apartment. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air when Eve texted that she was on her way over with something she had cooked. I smiled at the thought. She had made a habit of bringing me homemade meals, and I didn't mind. That small gesture meant more than she probably realized. So when the doorbell rang, I assumed it was her. I opened the door, expecting Eve's warm smile. But it wasn't her. It was Jenny. For a second, I couldn't process it. She looked almost the same, though there was hesitation in her stance. "How did you find me?" I asked flatly, no emotion in my voice. She opened her mouth to speak, but I didn't let her. "Leave," I said simply. She broke down right there, crying so hard she could barely breathe. Through her tears, she begged me to forgive her. She admitted everything. How she treated me, how she took me for granted, how she should have never let me go. She said she had been lost without me, that nothing had gone right since I disappeared. Her tear-streaked eyes searched my face, looking for sympathy. But I felt nothing. I had imagined this moment so many times. What I would say if she ever came back. But standing there, all I felt was a wave of indifference. Just as I was about to tell her to leave again, I heard footsteps approaching. Eve. She walked up smiling, carrying homemade food. She looked radiant. Her presence a stark contrast to the crying mess in front of me. Jenny's breath caught when she saw her. I didn't hesitate. I stepped forward, pulled Eve into a hug, and kissed her cheek. "Welcome," I said, calm and steady. Eve smiled, completely unfazed by Jenny's presence. Jenny's expression twisted into something between heartbreak and humiliation. Without another word, I took Eve's hand, stepped inside, and shut the door. I didn't check to see if Jenny was still there. I didn't wait to hear her footsteps fade. I was done. She had made her choice 2 years ago. Now it was my turn. Looking back now, I realized pain can be the best teacher. When Jenny chose that party over me, I felt like my whole world had shattered. I questioned everything. Was I too clingy, too demanding, not good enough? But the truth is, I was never a problem. She just didn't value me the way I valued her. And that night, as I lay there feeling like my chest was caving in, I had no idea that the best decision I would ever make was just around the corner. Walking away from her was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's the thing that saved me. Life has a way of evening things out, doesn't it? After I moved, I built a life I could be proud of. I worked hard, invested smart, and grew into the person I wanted to be. Meanwhile, I heard Jenny jumped into another relationship almost immediately with a guy who was perfect for her lifestyle. A party guy. At first, I bet it felt exciting. But soon reality set in. He wasn't just a party animal. He was an abusive one. He drank too much. And when he did, he turned violent. Their relationship became pure chaos. Yelling, fighting, constant drama. Eventually, it all collapsed. And when she had nothing left, that's when she came to my door, crying, begging for forgiveness. But by then, it was too late. I had moved on. I had grown. And most importantly, I learned that real love doesn't have to be forced. If someone truly wants to be in your life, they'll show it. They won't make you feel like an afterthought. They won't make you fight for a place in their world. So now I want to hear from you. Was I too harsh, or did she get what she deserved? If someone betrayed your trust and came crawling back, what would you do? Have you ever been taken for granted, only for them to realize your worth when it was too late? Tell me in the comments. I know a lot of you have been through something like this. Let's talk about it.